Hey, how's it going everyone? It's Anthony from paintthemoon.org, bringing you guys yet another portable vaporizer review. Today we're going to be looking at the Crafty, which is essentially the same vape as a Mighty. The only differences being the Crafty is about half the size, and it's also about half the battery life of the Mighty. We're going to talk about all the things that make the Crafty great in this review, but I'm also going to address some points that you may want to consider before choosing the Crafty over something like the Mighty or the Firefly 2. We're going to break the review up into a few different areas so we can look at each feature and part of the Crafty individually. So what we're looking at in this review is the vapor path, the temperature control, the oven capacity and efficiency, the vapor quality, the build quality, the portability, the battery life, and then finally we're going to look at the cleaning process of the Crafty. Towards the end of the video, we'll wrap everything up and conclude the review with a short list and pros and cons of the Crafty. So with all that out of the way, let's jump right into the review and look at the vapor path offered by the Crafty. The vapor path of the Crafty is made out of the same high temperature plastic that is used on the exterior of the unit. I typically don't like plastic in the vapor path at all, but all of the materials that Storz and Bickels use are food safe and don't produce any foul odors or flavors. The top portion of the Crafty is called the cooling unit, and this simply comes off by turning it counterclockwise. When you take the cooling unit off, this will reveal the oven, which has a metal rim that runs along the inside of it. Then there's a screen on the bottom which will reveal the heater under it. The cooling unit is what makes the vapor path of the Crafty so special. What it does is it essentially extends the length of the vapor path, allowing you to get exceptionally smooth vapor. The cooling unit takes your vapor through a series of channels and chambers, instead of delivering the vapor straight to your mouth like most other devices. Now let's talk about the temperature control of the Crafty. First of all, the device is simply powered on by pressing on the orange button on the front of the vape. Now you might have noticed that there isn't any really buttons or anything on the vape itself to tell you what temperature you're vaping at and to set the temperature. This is because all that functionality is done from your smartphone, which is a good or bad thing depending who you ask. The cool thing that the app does allow you to do is the ability to use a full temperature spectrum to tune in exactly where you want to vape at. You pretty much have full leeway as to what you want to vape at up to a maximum temperature of 410 degrees Fahrenheit. This is great because you can really fine tune what temperature you want to vape at to achieve different experiences. You can also set a secondary temperature called the boost mode, which is a temperature modifier like plus 15 degrees for example. This effectively gives you two temperature settings that you can choose between on the fly without needing your phone. You can have your Crafty preset to 380 degrees Fahrenheit, and then when you want to raise the heat, you can activate the boost mode to finish up a session without having to pull out your phone every time. Now let's look at the oven capacity and efficiency of the Crafty. What we're looking at here is how much material you can load into the oven and how efficiently the vaporizer extracts all the active cannabinoids and terpenes. I found the Crafty can hold about 0.2-0.3 of coarsely ground flour, like the typical consistency you'd get from a normal 4-piece grinder. You can grind your material finer, but I found this just pulled finer particulates more into the cooling unit, increasing the need for maintenance. The finer grind does produce larger clouds, but I don't find the extra effort when it comes time to clean the vape to be worth it for a marginal gain in vapor production. Typically a session will last about 10 to 15 minutes. The amount of draws you get depends on the material you use, but I found session time was about 10 to 15 minutes on average to finish a bowl in the Crafty. The Crafty is a really efficient use of your flour. I found at the end of a session that there isn't much left, especially if you finish off your ovens above 400 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're interested in purchasing a Crafty, I'm sure the primary reason why you're interested in it is because you've heard of its outstanding vapor quality. Well, I'll tell you the vapor quality is worth the price tag alone in my opinion. Vapor production is fantastic. The Crafty produces desktop vape levels of vapor. This thing seriously produces tons of vapor. The videos of the vapor production just don't lie. This is also a great vape to hook up to a bong since it will completely fill whatever piece you use with completely white dense vapor. The lack of any draw resistance is another great thing. It doesn't require any technique or anything and doesn't require any learning. The free-flowing draw is great for someone with respiratory issues or someone who wants to occasionally vape with a water pipe since it won't hinder the function of any piece you use with it. Flavor is also really great and it blows me away that it has such great flavor while still being a session style vaporizer. The flavor is very consistent through a session and never tastes burnt or anything like that. There's a very gradual degradation of flavor which you really don't notice till you start getting to the very end of a session. Like we touched on before, the Crafty's cooling unit works wonders for producing very smooth vapor. The vapor is very easy on the throat and doesn't feel scratchy or hot even without water filtration. Overall, the vapor quality produced from the Crafty is outstanding and I personally have nothing but praise for it. Now let's talk about the build quality. You would think because the Crafty is made out of plastic that it wouldn't feel quality or nice in the hand, but it actually does. It feels like a quality device with a good amount of heft to it in terms of weight. It's not heavy by any means, but it's not a feather either. It's heavy enough so you know it's in your hand, which I really like. Something I do have to bring up is the fact that a lot of people have to send their Crafty in for servicing at some point. I typically only use mine on the go, so it doesn't see daily use that much, but it seems when people go over 100 hours on the Crafty that issues start popping up. If you're a heavy user, I would recommend going for the Mighty, as it's proven itself as being more reliable than the Crafty with heavy usage. Now let's talk about the portability of the Crafty. This is the reason why I would pick the Crafty over the Mighty. If you need amazing vapor quality in a small package, the Crafty is a great option. It easily slips into any pocket or bag, and shouldn't pose any issues to someone who needs to bring this from point A to point B. The Crafty fits really well in the hand and is a pleasure to use on the go. In my opinion, the battery of the Crafty is its biggest downfall. From a full battery, I get about an hour of usage or 2 to 4 ovens, which is okay, but the lack of replaceable batteries gives the Crafty a really short range of use unless you aren't a heavy user, in which case a battery may last you a day of on-the-go use. Now while this doesn't have replaceable batteries, the Crafty is charged with a micro USB cable, so it can be charged with a portable phone charger, in your car, or like on a computer or something, anything that can deliver power from a USB cable. The cleaning process of the Crafty is something I personally don't look forward to. It's not the worst cleaning process in the world, but I just find it aggravating sometimes. For starters, disassembling the cooling unit can get a little messy depending how dirty your unit is. I clean mine monthly typically, and there's definitely some buildup in the cooling unit after a month of use. You can soak the cooling unit in alcohol, but I wouldn't leave it in there soaking more than an hour. Even with a long soak, I always find it necessary to run a Q-tip along all the channels in the cooling unit, as there's always some stuff that's built up that doesn't quite dissolve without you agitating it somehow. Cleaning the cooling unit will take about 15 to 30 minutes, possibly longer depending on your experience with cleaning it. I'm getting faster at cleaning it as I do it more, but it's still a long process compared to some of my other vapes. So in conclusion, I'm going to summarize the review into a few pros and cons. Now let's start with the pros. First of all, the vapor quality is very consistent with the Crafty, and it pretty much stays consistent throughout a session. I really like the large oven size, and I feel it's great for on-the-go use. I also love the small design. When compared to the Mighty, this small size makes it very portable and very easy to bring with you on the go. And you do have multiple charging options when it comes to the Crafty. You're not limited to a wall outlet, you can charge it in like a laptop or a portable phone charger or something like that. So you do have some options for charging it on the go, even though it doesn't offer replaceable batteries. Now let's talk about the cons. First of all, the temperature control is primarily on your phone with this vape. I would like to see a little more control given to the user on the device itself, maybe by cycling through maybe a couple profiles or something that you can set. I don't know, just brainstorming here, but I would like to see a better implementation in future revisions. I found if you're vaping on a concentrates and you just have the Crafty set to like 410 degrees Fahrenheit, it will overheat with extended use and you kind of have to give it a break after a little bit. Now anecdotally, I've seen a lot of people having to send their Crafty in for servicing online, so it's something to mention that if you're looking for a more reliable vape, I would personally lean towards the Mighty. And also, I feel the battery life's kind of short and I would like to see replaceable batteries. So overall, I highly recommend a Crafty to someone who's looking for a good portable vape that doesn't compromise on the most important area of a vaporizer in my opinion, which is the vapor quality. Having a vape that can deliver desktop level vapor quality in a small form factor is something I think everyone desires to have in their collection. Make sure you also check out the Mighty if you haven't done so already. It's very similar to the Crafty, but has some advantages over its little brother. We also have a video review for the Mighty, which you can watch by clicking the link in the corner of the video. With all that said, I hope this review helped you all out if you're kind of undecided about what vape you want to purchase. I do have a full written review on both the Mighty and the Crafty that can be located on our website, panthermoon.org. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate all you guys watching. And until next time, this has been Anthony, and I hope you all have a good one. I'll see you guys later. Peace.